Dave in San Jose. Hey, Dave, you're on with Willie and Dibby. What you doing?
How you doing, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Seeing, good. Rolling through South San Jose. I'm actually from Santa Clara. Raiders fan. I can't hate on the 49ers anymore since they're playing in my city, and they're playing such excellent defense. And I'm just calling to say that is totally unfounded criticism of your quarterback, Purdy. And I just like to ask the callers, and maybe Willard, what else do you want? What else would you suggest? Going to Darnold right now? There are only so many human beings on planet Earth that could play that position, and he's one of the best.
Yeah.
And maybe Raiders fans, maybe we're like overly optimistic, but you guys are just some Niners fans, San Francisco 49ers fans. I call them the Santa Clara 49ers now. They're just so willing to throw your guys under the bus just like that. Just amazing.
Yeah, for a quarterback who's won almost every one of his games. I mean, all but 3 regular season and 1 playoff game. He's won every other game he's played. And yet, for many people, it's not good enough because he can't do it against defenses that are facing him. And thank you for the breakdown, Lucas. I couldn't have discerned that without you.
No, it's interesting. It is interesting that people want Brock to put the team on his back. We're not satisfied until then.
And I don't really know what that means.
I don't either, especially in football, but I would argue that teams that do have a player that has to put the rest of the team on his back, those teams are not beloved. That's considered a problem. Let me think if I can think of one. Let's see. Can I find an example of a team that only has one player who's performing well and the rest of them are all being dragged along? Let me think. Oh, right, the Warriors. And we've spent all day talking about what the hell are we going to do because you can't find another good player on the team. Steph needs help. The greatest player who's ever worn a Warrior jersey, quote, needs help. But none of you want to say that about Brock Purdy. Boy, if you say Brock Purdy needs help, you are ripping the man. You are ripping him. Stop the obsession with Brock Purdy putting the team on his back. You're getting unbelievable production at the quarterback position. This is a fact. And I'm done with whether he's Mahomes, Allen, or it's ridiculous to put him in the same sentence. I don't care. I don't care if he's not as good as Mahomes. It's completely irrelevant. The 49ers are getting everything they need from the quarterback position. Give me an example, by the way, of when Joe Montana, quote unquote, put the team on his back. What's the game that stands out as the signature moment in his career?
Yeah, I'd have to look through all the games, but it strikes me that he usually had a pretty good supporting cast around him and a good defense.
He did.
I think about Lamar Jackson as a guy who, quote, puts his team on his back. And even at that, he's not doing it at the same level that he used to. He's actually spreading the ball around more, and he's not the leading rusher on his team anymore. That's Gus Edwards. And they've become a more balanced team. And as a result, they're a better team than the Lamar Jackson that we normally would see. And even Patrick Mahomes, we talk about him as the gold standard for putting his team on his back. And he makes plays as a quarterback, and he does a lot at quarterback. But they've got a good run game, and they have a better defense than they've ever had with Andy Reid as the head coach.
Yeah. Remember the game? Remember the catch? Remember the catch with Joe Montana?
Yeah.
I know
they turned it over 6 times in that game.
Right. He threw 3 picks in that game.
And they fumbled 3 times.
And the 49ers ran the ball at 4.1 yards per carry. That idiot Montana needed Lenville Elliott to rush at 4.8 yards a carry. Without him, I don't know what the hell he would have done. I don't know what he would have done. Like, you got to be allowed to make a mistake. What an odd obsession. He threw picks. Right. He threw picks. I hate to do this. Here we go again. He's going to throw more. He not done. There's more where that comes from. He will not end the year with 5 picks. I'm going to say it right now. And what will we do? Will it be Darnold time?
Lock that up.
Is it going to be Darnold time if he throws another one? Because I've had it. I've had it with all the picks.
Have you had it, Mark?
I've had it up to here.
What about the fumbles?
I've had it.
Like, that's what you should be more upset by.
I'm furious. Now, forget that there's way more touchdowns than all that stuff. Forget those.
3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about those. I've had it.
Russell Wilson has a better ratio.
I've had it.
Stroud has a better ratio.
Stroud's got a better ratio.
Herbert's got a better ratio.
Right. You know what they don't have?
Baker Mayfield has a better ratio.
Does he?
That's close. 14-5, not 15-5.
Okay, so no, he has a worse ratio.
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what those guys don't have as many of? They don't have wins.
Right.
Dave in Pleasanton next. Hi, Dave. What's up? You're on with Willie and Dibby.
I'm getting sick and tired of all this Brock Purdy talk. Look, I am a Jimmy hater and a Trey Lance supporter, but when it comes to Brock Purdy, we need to just let him do what he's doing. We finally have a quarterback that's willing to take chances. We haven't had that in years. We had Mr. Game Manager Jimmy Garoppolo that just threw interceptions just because he's Jimmy Garoppolo. And now we're worried about somebody whose interception to touchdown ratio is completely better than Jimmy. And it would be better if we didn't have Christian McCaffrey inside the 10. We just hand him the ball, he gets the touchdown. So people just need to knock it off. Dude is a great quarterback, plain and simple. If you can't tell that he's a great quarterback from that play where he threw to Kittle when he was basically getting smacked in the mouth,
Yep.
and threw the perfect ball, there's 25 other quarterbacks that could not have made that throw in the NFL. And so people need to knock it off. That's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, Dave, thanks. He calls it the Brock Purdy debate. I'm not sick of the debate. I'm totally confused at why it even exists. Why would there be a debate?
Well, there is no debate.
Yeah,
I don't know why we feel like there is a debate, and I take my cues from the people who actually make these decisions, and there's no debate.
Yeah.
Like, Kyle Shanahan has been unwavering ever since, May, when it looked like Brock Purdy's surgery went well and that he was on track to be healthy again. He has not wavered in terms of QB1, and then he's gone out and he's won 6 of the first 9, and he's number 1 in quarterback rating. He's number 1 in QBR. All the metrics you want to look at, he's been excellent. Yeah, he's made mistakes, sure. And that last caller made a great point about the George Kittle touchdown pass. And you see Kyle Shanahan fist bump when Kittle catches it at the 38-yard line, knowing that it was a great play call, yes, and it was a great execution. Brock Purdy hung in there and delivered the ball, and it was a touchdown. And there is no debate. There's no discussion about QB1 now or in 2024. There is no discussion. Yeah. So sometimes it wears me out a little bit that we, in our position here, we continue to allow this to be a thing because it's not a thing. And Brock Purdy's the guy, and you can either think that Brock Purdy is really, really good, that the stats and the record and the eye test would tell you that Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. He's shown you he's a good quarterback. He's made me a believer. And if you are not a believer, then you're either a hater or you're not watching football, because Brock Purdy, he's not perfect. No one is. But he's been very, very good for a team that has won a lot of games. Yeah. So I don't know where the whole idea of a debate, there's not a controversy, there's no debate, there's no anything.
But there's plenty of people who still see it a very, very different way. They call this show every single day.
I know. I sit here and I shake my head because I don't understand. I don't understand why you think that. Like,
I don't either.
What is it about you, the individual, that thinks that this is a thing? Now, you can think that we overhype him, fine. You can think he's not an MVP candidate, sure.
Fine.
You can think he's a system quarterback, whatever. He is their starting quarterback, and he will be next year, and they are really good. That, to me, is the conversation.
And he is effectively doing his job at an incredibly high level, almost an historic level, if you want to look at it through stats. I don't usually look at it just through stats.
Right.
But those are there if you want them. And you're welcome to take a big bite. Like that's out there for you if you want. I wonder if those of you who see it that way, if you're aware of the unwinnable conversation that you create. I wonder if you're aware. Now, you can have your opinion. You can do whatever you want. But just realize that this is where you're going. When it goes well, you say, well, that's because of all of his teammates. But then, conversely, you'll say, we need to see this guy be able to put the team on his back.
Right.
Which means you're saying that when all of his teammates don't play well, then that's his fault. So play well, teammates get credit. Teammates play poorly, your fault. In other words, when the run game isn't working and the defense doesn't play well, if you don't go out there and save all of their butts, that's your fault, and you're therefore not a good quarterback. You have created a scenario where there is 0 win for Brock. You either save everyone's bacon, or if it goes well, you don't get any credit for it. You've created a lane in which no one can exist as a quarterback.
And that's the part that I don't really get, because we all talk about how the quarterback is the most important player on this team or any team in all of sports. The quarterback is that guy. So he gets all the credit and he gets all the blame. So when you go out there and you have a game like he did against Jacksonville, he should be given all the credit for the win. Yet, we come in and we talk about how the defense was nasty and they had 5 sacks, and that's all true. But Brock Purdy himself had a pretty good game. He made all the throws he needed to make. He made no real mistake in the football game, and he was great. The offense was dominant, but he doesn't get the same amount of credit.
Yeah, I like it. It's it's a head scratcher. Matt in Oakland next up. Willard and Dibs. Hey, Matt, what are you doing?
Hey, first time, long time. I want to talk about metric arm strength.
Okay.
Right? We talk about Brock Purdy and how he's not able to throw the ball as well as some of the other quarterbacks. Did we not just watch Josh Allen go 15-26 for 177 yards and throw 2 picks? He's considered by most having the strongest arm in the league. So why are we still concerned with arm strength and Purdy? It makes no sense.
Another good question. And here's another thing. Not only can you debunk the whole idea of arm strength is everything in the NFL, I'd love someone to prove to me, show me when arm strength was even a problem on any one Brock Purdy throw. Call up. What was the throw where you were like, oof, arm strength got him there? When did it happen? I saw him not be able to step into a throw to George Kittle this week that he dropped in a bucket for a 66-yard touchdown. When has arm strength been a problem? Or are you just deciding because he looks slight in nature and the ball does not come out howitzer level like Mahomes and Allen? So what? When has that been not just a thing in the NFL? When's the throw where you're like, damn, that drive would have went right well if Brock had some arm strength?
Well, the counterpoint would be, and this has been a little bit different since Jimmy G's been gone, but the Niners don't throw the ball outside the numbers a lot. And that's where you really need arm strength. Now, they throw it outside the numbers more than they used to, and I'm talking outside the numbers running like an out route where you've got a receiver who runs down the hash mark and breaks it out to the sideline. That's where you need a, quote, big arm. They don't run a lot of those routes. Now, to your point, has there been a time where they've run that route and Brock Purdy's been unable to get the ball out there in time with enough velocity? I can't recall a lot of those throws. And just because they don't run a lot of those routes doesn't mean that he can't do it. It's the Shanahan offense. They don't do that by design. They run a lot of screens, throws to the flats, and balls down the middle. They run Brandon Ayuk down the middle. They like to run George Kittle down the middle. They run a lot of wheel routes, which are not your typical out routes. Does that mean he doesn't have a big arm? No, just because they don't necessarily throw those passes or run those routes. And I think the whole idea of a big arm is something that we lean on as a quality that isn't necessarily that important based on whatever offense you run.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing we do with like, oh my gosh, you need to be able to, as a quarterback, you need to be able to run like Lamar. Like, remember the whole, oh my gosh, they got Trey Lance because he's going to run like Lamar.
Or even a receiver running a 4-3.
Yeah.
It's like
Jerry Rice, didn't.
Yeah.
He's the best of all time.
Exactly. And it just depends on your offense. The Shanahan offense is not predicated on, and we've talked about this a lot, personnel-wise. They don't go 4 wide receivers ever, and they don't run a lot of out-breaking routes. They run a lot of stuff in the middle, a lot of crossers, a lot of underneath, a lot of screens and throws to the flat. And for those routes, you don't really need a big arm.
This is a total aside just because Josh Allen's name just came up. I want you to know if you think I'm a total idiot here. So, you know that wacky 2-quarterback fantasy league that I'm in?
Yeah.
And it's -6 for any turnover.
Oh, geez.
So imagine Josh Allen on a night like last night, -6 for any turnover. But obviously throws a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards as well. A guy for the last 2 weeks has been trying to trade Josh Allen to me. And the offer keeps getting lower. Like he came back last night. For 2 weeks, he's like, you give me Goff and a receiver. And I was like, nope. Last night he came back to me and goes, straight up, Allen for Goff. What would you have done?
That's going to be a no from me, dog.
That's what I said too. And I couldn't figure out why I was saying that because Allen is still the top scoring player in all of fantasy in this league.
Allen's got 100 more yards than Goff.
Yep.
And he's got 5 more touchdowns than Goff, 6 more picks than Goff.
Right. Goff's already had his bye week. Josh has not.
Good point.
Josh has got a much harder schedule. Goff gets to play a bunch of Packers and Bears and all this.
Good point.
And so I looked at it and I went, I think I'm a moron, but no. I won't even do Goff for Allen straight up. He's like the number 1 pick in the draft in this league. It was wild. I can't believe I'm saying this, but no.
Yeah. Wow. Goff is 8th in quarterback rating. Allen is 12th.
Yeah.
Just on quarterback rating, which is not fantasy football.
That's a yes from me, Doug.
Yeah, Grandy's voting
Guys
yes.
in the other room think I should have done it.
Well, and I actually
I can go back to him. I could probably still get him.
I like the way Detroit is approaching offense as opposed to the Bills.
Same.
And, the Bills are, and maybe I have PTSD from last night's losing wager, but the Bills are not as wide open as they used to be.
Well, they just fired their coordinator.
Exactly.
So
Ken Dorsey.
Who knows what they're going to do.
Shout out Miramani and Arinda.
Let's go to Tom in Palo Alto. Hi, Tom. What are you doing?
Hey, guys. I'm just waiting at the airport. I just want to say this. Love your show. You guys are awesome. You crack me up every single day.
Thank you, Tom.
On top of that, here's what I think. All the pundits, Stephen A. Smith, Kyle Hurd, and all these East Coast biasness, the reason why they can't stand the fact that Purdy is so good is because he's proven the fact that every measuring statistic that you use to take a quarterback in the first round is wrong. Purdy is taken in the 7th round, and he processes way faster than any of the 32 quarterbacks out there. If you took a survey today and you said, hey, let's say hypothetically, we'll trade Brock Purdy, I guarantee you all the pundits and all the other teams will probably take the Niners on the offer.
I don't agree with that, Tom. I think you what you're eliminating there is circumstance and setting, if you will. You've heard, for instance, Kurt Warner come on this show last week and say every quarterback is a system quarterback.
Right.
What you want to do as an NFL team is have a system that you like to run that's going to be successful and then find a quarterback who runs it well. It's not as simple as we like to make it. We get good quarterback, we win games. It's not like that. There are guys who can succeed in one system, may not be as good in another. It was interesting. I saw somebody tweet at Richard Sherman last night and go, man, if you know what Josh Allen needs? Josh Allen needs to go to Kyle Shanahan. And Sherman was like, he goes, actually, I don't think that would work very well. And I was like, I wanted to hear more why, and he didn't really expand on it. But my bet is because Josh is like the king of improvisation. He's all over the place. He's running the ball.
Right.
He's buying time. He's hucking thing into windows. He would drive Shanahan absolutely through the roof.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good fit. So I'm not here to tell you Purdy is Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. Talent-wise, he's not.
No.
I'm here to tell you he's the right guy for this job, and they're producing.
This system, yeah.
Yes, they're producing at a high level, so why are we poking around for something else? You got a good relationship. Stay in it. Stay in it.
Yeah.
Stop getting wooed by the girl that walks down the street in a short skirt. You're in a great relationship. Shut up and enjoy it.
Brock Purdy is 26th in the league in pass attempts, and he's number 1 in quarterback rating, which tells me that he fits the system very well. Josh Allen is number 2 in attempts this year, and he's number 1 in interceptions. And to your point about Kyle Shanahan, the one thing that we know he can't stand more than anything else is the turnover. And Josh Allen is 12th in quarterback rating. A lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of interceptions. It's a risk-reward offense with Josh Allen at the helm. Brock Purdy is not asked to do a lot, but when he is asked to throw the ball, he's accurate. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes in terms of turnovers. He's thrown 5 interceptions. One of them was a ghastly one at 1st and goal from the 8, and then his very next pass was a telegraph throw, back-to-back terrible picks, but by and large, he's efficient. He protects the ball. He runs the system, and they win.
15-5. You take it every time. 15 touchdowns.
You even look at like touchdown percentage. The percentage of his throws that are touchdowns, that to me is a more accurate number. He's number 4 in football in touchdown percentage.
Touchdown percentage? I thought that number we talked about earlier was that since the merger, he's number 1 all time. In
touchdown percentage?
Yeah.
Maybe that is accounting for last year. This year, he's number 4 in touchdown percentage.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is 1, then Justin Fields.
That's surprising.
Then Tua, then Purdy.
Those number 1 and number 2 are surprising. That's a little surprising.
Russell Wilson's having a pretty good year.
It's okay. Justin Fields is the surprising one.
Right. Well, he's only played 6 games.
Yeah, exactly.
162 throws, 11 touchdowns.